Hi guys, it is Aoife here from Fred We See Dead Laughing, and I'm here to do the mid-year Freakout book tag. So it's that time of year again that we decided to do all our mid-year updates, our mid-year just discussions and stuff like that. So I thought it'd be a good time to do this tag and just talk about some of the best books in my opinion that I've read so far this year. So I will leave all the original tag creators and stuff down below and the questions, and I will just get straight on into it. So the first question here is best books you've read so far in 2017. And for me, like, I've read some really good books this year, but one of my most recent books where I just fell in love with it, like almost from the first page, was The Lonely Hearts Hotel by Heather O'Neill. I read this like recently in the last month, and there was just something about this book and the way it was written, and like it was so magical and lovely and dark and dreary all at the same time, and it was just this lovely mixture of like pain and love and relief, and there was just something about it that I just absolutely adored, and I just like drank up the words, and now I just need to read everything that Heather O'Neill has ever written, like in her entire life, because her writing is just like an elixir and I love it. Number 2 is the best sequel you've read so far in 2017, and one of the best sequels I read was one I read at the start of the year. And it was Traitor to the Throne by Alwyn Hamilton, and this is the second book in the Rebel of the Sands trilogy. Now this is kind of like, Rebel of the Sands gets a real mixed reaction. Some people love it, some people hate it. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't know what to expect going into the sequel, and I absolutely adored the sequel. It brought us to different areas of the land, and the characters just got so well developed, and I was just, I just really didn't know what to expect. The ending, there's just a heartbreaking moment at the ending that just really like rips your heart out, and it just had everything that I wanted from a sequel, and I'm so stoked for the next book in the series, or the trilogy, so it'll be the last book, and I just cannot wait to see what happens, because I absolutely adored Traitor to the Throne. Number 3 is a new release you haven't read yet but you want to. It's like basically every release this year, because I like never read new releases like as soon as they come out. I'm really bad at just putting them on my bookshelf, or just like putting them on my to read list and just like never getting around to them. So one of the latest new releases that I haven't read is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. A pretty new release, and I've bought it obviously. I read Lady Midnight like really quickly as soon as it came out. Like I think I read it within the week it came out, where this one has been out a few weeks and I still haven't read it. So I do need to get around to it. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm kind of scared as well, because I've heard like there's some like really sad things that happen in this book, or I don't know, I'm just kind of scared to read it as well, because I want all like my baby Mark to be safe, and that's about it. But I'm really excited to read this book, and eventually I will get around to it, hopefully within the next few weeks. I don't know, hopefully within the next few weeks. I'm going on holidays next week, so I'm hoping to bring this with me, and hopefully I'll get it read, but we'll see, like who knows. So number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and oh my god, John Gwynne is bringing out a new book in November. It's called A Time of Dread. John Gwynne is the author of the Faithful and the Fallen series, and it's a very high fantasy series, which I read a few of the books last year, and basically like I talk about this series all the time in all my tags, because I just adore it and I love it, and it's just like my heart. And he has bringing out a new book, and it's a spin-off, and it's set like 100 years after, or a few hundred years after the events of the Faithful and the Fallen. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I just cannot wait for this book, and like I genuinely let out a scream of happiness when I realised that this book was coming, because I had no idea about it, and then I saw it, I think on the publishers fall releases or winter releases, and oh my god, like I was so happy. I cannot wait for this book. It's just going to be like my second half of the year. I'm just going to have like a countdown for when this book is out. I have to read it. Number 5 is your biggest disappointment of this year, and without doubt one of my biggest disappointments this year was The Other Half of Happiness by Aisha Malik. This was the second book in the Sophia Khan Is Not Obliged series. So Sophia Khan Is Not Obliged is obviously the first book. It's kind of like being compared to like the Muslim Bridget Jones, about just like a Muslim woman's dating woes as like a modern woman living in London, but she's Muslim and she's a devout Muslim and stuff like that. And I really loved the first book. Like I really loved the first book. It was like a 4 out of 5 stars for me, and eventually I kind of raised up to like a 4.5 to 5 stars. The more I thought about that book, I really enjoyed it. So I was so excited to read the second book, and I just hated it. Like literally from start to finish, I hated it. The only redeeming quality in this book was Sophia's mother's journey in the second book, and I thought that was absolutely wonderful, but Sophia's journey in the second book and everything she goes through is so frustrating and so annoying and just doesn't make any sense. Like, nothing she does and nothing another character does make any sense, and just annoyed me so much. I just really hated it. And yeah, like literally every time I think about this book, it just like goes down further. Like first it was like a 2.5 stars or like really low 3 stars, then it was like a 2 stars. At this point, like it's almost like a 1 star for me, or like a 0 stars, because I just hated it so much. Number 6 is your biggest surprise of the year. And for me, I don't know, I kind of try and give a lot of books like a fair chance. But one book I wasn't expecting to be quite so good was My Life as a White Trash Zombie by Diana Rowland. This is a book I read on audio a few weeks ago, and I think maybe it's because I was reading it on audio. I don't think I was expecting to get as much into the book as I did. I just really enjoyed it, and I just really enjoyed the character Angel, kind of like her journey throughout the book and the way she grew, and just the zombiness of it. Like it was really like similar to iZombie, which I love anyway. I love that show, so the similarities just really helped me like get really into the book. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And my other surprisement, that's not even a word. And my other surprise book this year was The Radium Girls by Kate Moore, and this is because this was a non-fiction book, and as you guys have noticed, I've been reading more non-fiction the last like couple of months, but I wasn't really expecting to get as into this story as I was, and I just got really into it, really into just like the women's lives and finding out what happened to them and rooting for them and crying for them. And yeah, I just really enjoyed that book, and I hadn't been expecting to fall in love with it quite as much as I did. Number 7 is your favourite new author, either a debut or new to you. And for me, both the people I have down for this one are new to me authors. The first one is Cinda Williams Chima. I have been reading her Seven Realms series this year. I've read all the first 3 this year. I still have to read the 4th, which I'm hoping to read really soon, but absolutely fell in love with this series, and I just fell in love with her writing and her world building. I absolutely love it, so I'm really excited to go on and read the final book in that series, but at the same time I don't really want to let it go, so I think that's why I'm kind of pushing it away from me at the moment. But I do need to read it and figure out and find out what happens and go on and read her other books, because I want to read everything that she's written, because I really love that series. And the other book is obviously someone I've already mentioned, which is Heather O'Neill. I absolutely adored her writing in The Lonely Hearts Hotel, so I really want to go on and read her other books and see if the writing is similar and if I like it as much. Number 8 is your newest fictional crush, and that is without a doubt Hans Alistair in The Demon King by Cinda Williams Chima. Hans Alistair is just a babe and a half, and particularly in the last book, which was The Grey Wolf Throne, I think. I don't know, there was something about him in that book that just like left me a bit breathless at times. Like, I just fancied him so much in that book. I just couldn't control myself. I just really love him. Just, I don't know, there's just something about him that's like a little bit Draco Malfoy, but like not an evil shit. And just like, yeah, I just love him. Like, he just, yeah, Hans Alistair. Number 9 is your new favourite character, and for me, like, I don't know, it was hard to like pinpoint an exact favourite character because I did love a lot of characters, but one character I did really enjoy was Dreadnought, or Danny, in Dreadnought by April Daniels, and this is about a boy who ends up taking on this superhero's mantle when the superhero dies. But the thing is, when the mantle is passed on, that person becomes the person they've always wanted to be, like the person they are in their heart, which means Danny turns into a girl. So he's a transgender woman, but like completely physically, like everything is like, you know, as if he was born a woman, and he kind of faces a lot of prejudice both in the superhero world and in his own home and in his own friend circle, or she, I should say, she faces it. But I just really loved her growth in that book, and I just loved like the whole superhero thing as well, because it was just something I didn't know that I wanted so much, was this really good superhero story, and that it has so many really important issues as well, which is really good. So yeah, she was a character I definitely fell in love with at the very, and I read that pretty early on at the start of the year, and I actually have the sequel at the moment from NetGalley, so I'm really excited to read the sequel and just get more Dreadnought. Number 10 is a book that made you cry, and a book that made me cry recently, or like, it didn't make me like sob cry, it made me like I had tears in my eyes and like a lump in my throat that I had to like swallow down, and that was Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, because there's something at the end of that isn't actually like a sad thing, but it's just a really emotional moment, and it just got me like so much like in my gut, and oh, there was just, I was just like, it was just so nice and like just so emotional, and I just couldn't handle anything. It was just very emotional. Number 11 is a book that made you happy, and contrary to its sequel, Sophia Khan is Not Obliged by Aisha Malik is actually a book that did make me happy. It just was one of those books that was just humorous and made me laugh, and it had a lot of laugh out loud moments, like just things that she was saying. And even though like I am not like a Muslim woman like wearing hijab or, you know, having to deal with dating as like while being a Muslim woman, there was just a lot of things like in it that you could still kind of like connect with her with, and like just some of her struggles is just like as just like a woman in like modern day with modern dating, all that kind of stuff. Like I just really connected to her, and I just thought she was a lot of fun to listen to, and I just really enjoyed her story. And then she ruined everything in her sequel. So number 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. And for me, one of the most beautiful books I've bought is Not Forgetting the Whale by Giant Ironmonger. I talked about this the other day. And obviously this is one of my favourite books of 2016. And I had to get this cover because I absolutely love this cover. It is beautiful, if you guys can see. And like it goes like around the start as well. And yeah, it is just really nice. Like, oh, it's just such a gorgeous book. I adore it. So yeah. And another really pretty book, like we have to admit, is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Like this is like a really simple cover design really, but there's something about it that's just really beautiful. And I just really like looking at this on my shelf. Number 13 is What Books You Need to Read by the End of the Year. A book that recently came out is Now I Rise by Kirsten White. I really loved the first book in that series, which was And I Darken, and I just adored that book. I really enjoyed it. So I'm really eager to read the sequel and find out what happened. So yeah, it's a book I really need to read. And another book I really want to read, which I'm not going to hold up because my camera is like on it right now, is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I do have Strange the Dreamer, but I do want to read Daughter of Smoke and Bone first. And that is a series that I just really need to read, and I've had it since like October and I still haven't read it, so I really need to move on and read it. So that is my mid-year book freakout tag. Please let me know what you guys think of the answers, what you guys would choose for the answers, and what your favourite book has been so far this year. What has been your biggest disappointment this year. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys again next time. Bye!